All right, Eagle Nation, another day of practice in the books. Some interesting developments on the defensive side of the ball, but most importantly, one young Eagles player is making his case for a starting spot. Can he actually get it done? We'll talk about all that and more right here on A to Z Philly, but welcome on in. I am RB. Do me a favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Help us continue to grow and support our daily Eagles coverage. We'll take it to practice today, where we look at some injury situations, not what we want to hear. Thankfully, it seems like these guys are okay, but right now the Eagles have to take this into consideration because they cannot stockpile these injuries too early. It could affect their start of the season. They're going to need to have some depth waiting just to, see what happens just in case. But anyway, Mekhi Becton goes down today. Jeff McClain says he was limping inside. Eagles trainers seem to be looking at his right leg. You already have Tyler Steen, who's banged up every which way. Becton is making his case to be the starting right guard, and now he goes down. So you really hope that this is not serious. He has outplayed Tyler Steen. More of it has been availability and durability as well. But, if he goes down, then what? Then what's your next option? So Eagles need to monitor the situation, and hopefully he's okay. Another injury on the other side of the line, Landon Dickerson goes down with a limp. He went off with a trainer, but they did say he is pretty much seems to be okay, and hopefully he'll bounce back right away and not have to miss any time. So Eagles offensive line getting hit with some injuries already. Hopefully nothing too serious. Now I want to talk about Haason Reddick because this happened while I was going on vacation. Reddick requests a trade from the New York Jets. Not that I have much to say because he's no longer with the Eagles. I wish he was. I wish that things didn't go down the way they were. I hope Bryce Huff can step in and be the guy. But this is actually wild, man. I don't think I've seen a situation like this in a long time where you get traded because they don't want to pay you, and then you request a trade and never even show up. The Eagles have a chance to do something very funny. Howie Roseman, could you imagine if he traded back for Haason Reddick? It would never happen. Reddick wants to be paid a lot. He wants to have that solid payday. He thinks he earned it. And honestly, I would agree with him. I do think he's earned it. I think over the last 4 years, he's been spectacular. But as you start to get older, teams don't want to make that investment. They see a lot more risk than reward. Crazy, crazy stuff. But keeping it on the Eagles' defensive side of the ball, one Eagles young player, second year out of Georgia, Nakobe Dean, is now emerging. He had a tough start to camp. Didn't seem to be up to par, up to speed with these other guys. Vic Fangio says that Nakobe Dean is progressing, quote, good. I think he's doing good. And Vic Fangio asked about the linebacker rotation, said he's open to having Nakobe rotate in, but ideally wants to settle with a top two, who right now, again, to be very fair, seems to be Devin White and Zach Ball. It doesn't seem like Nakobe is in that mix, but I will say he is making a huge push. Can he end up starting? I think it's a long shot at this point, but he will certainly have a good amount of snaps. And for the investment that the Eagles made in him, they need him to do that. They need some production at the linebacker position. They can't have a situation again this year where you have guys, that are just brought in, whether it's vets or, rookies or just young players who don't have that experience. And then you're, getting cooked all over the middle of the field. Just can't happen. Nakobe Dean today had an awesome pass breakup on a pass to Devontae Smith. So Nakobe Dean getting disruptive today. Played really well in the last preseason game, making those progressions. But overall, Brandon Lee Gouton says that today he had a great practice. He broke up a Jalen Hurts pass in the flat. He had a sack on Hurts, or a quote-unquote sack. It would have been a sack. And also had celebrated a tackle on Saquon on a run for a little gain. So it seems like Nakobe Dean is taking that next step. Again, this is just practice. It's not game-like situation. Nakobe is a bit undersized, and he has had trouble staying on the field. But if he can, right, I don't think anybody's a firm 100% believer in Zach Bond or Devin White. I think they still need to prove that this season. But Nakobe Dean could find himself getting some very valuable snaps early in the year if he continues to play like this. I don't think he'll be a starter right away, but he certainly will be the next guy up as he is, starting to separate himself and make that gap. And another linebacker who continues to show out is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Now, again, he still has a lot more development and a lot more, progress in the works, but another big play today. Jeremiah Trotter had what would probably have been a sack in a game on Jalen Hurts. Eagles had a full field scrimmage today. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the last 4 or 5 practices, the last game, has just been everywhere. He's been turning heads, and I really like what he's doing out there on the field. So shout out to Jeremiah Trotter. Who knows if he can live up to his father, but nonetheless, he's not his father. You know, he's a different player, and right now he's very productive, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So shout out to Jeremiah Trotter Jr., another Eagle today who stepped up big time. Finally heard his name called. Josh Sweat. 2 big sacks today at practice, getting disruptive. Seemed like the offense did not play that well today, according to the reporters. The defense was everywhere, and a lot of guys kind of chiming in and cashing in here. And actually now, just as I'm, getting ready to wrap up this video, I see this update. Now it's up to number 3. So Josh Sweat with an unbelievable day, 3 sacks. This was definitely his standout day. And Zach Berman says he's gone under the radar from week 1 of 22 to the Eagles bye week in 23. Josh Sweat was tied for number 10 in the NFL with 17.5 sacks. He could be that swing piece. He could be pivotal for this defense and could really help determine how much success they can have, especially with these young guys. And then Bryce Huff, in terms of what Vic Fangio said today, was played in the preseason game because he's learning a new position as a 3-down player. So Vic Fangio challenged Huff early in training camp. He said he wanted to see more from him. He wanted him to have that ability to play every down. Eagles made a huge investment in him, and he was really the only starter that got those snaps, and that is why. So here's the explanation, from Vic Fangio. And, they all talked about the benefit of that joint scrimmage and the joint practice and then the preseason game. It was, just getting those valuable reps and having more of that game-like situation. Everybody else was kind of just laid back and chilling out, but, some of these second stringers and third stringers, are fighting for roster spots. So Quinyon Mitchell, still a big topic of conversation, and Vic Fangio says perfect world, he can play corner and corner only, so they are trying to get Quinyon on the outside. Seems like he, is vying for that cornerback 2 position, but then you have Keely Ringo, who was drafted last year, who's played really well in the preseason. And then you have other guys. Avonte Maddox, does he make the roster? What happens with Isaiah Rodgers? So it's going to be interesting this week to kind of see who has that first foot forward here and who kind of takes that next leap and wins these jobs. James Bradbury's still at safety. Vic Fangio says he was better than I thought he would be. But let's be honest, Bradbury at this point is pretty much being held in prison. He's not going to play, and it does suck for his career, but maybe the Eagles can kind of boost his trade value a bit. I think that's what they're trying to do here, and maybe get another team to bite on, a potential safety if they need one. So that's kind of where we're at after this practice today. A couple of final positional battles playing themselves out. One more preseason game to go. I got to be honest, I am so ready for the start of this season. Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one.
Welcome to BetMGM Live Dealer. All your favorite casino games, blackjack, poker, roulette, craps, and more. All on your phone, desktop, or tablet 24/7. Play with friends or make new ones at the tables.
Double down, Dave.
Chat with players and live dealers like you're at the casino.
Give me a 10. Yes!
Now you're betting with the king of Live Dealer.